You're welcome back. This is Newsfile. It's your most authoritative news analysis platform. And here on Newsfile, as always, we put Ghana first. There's a law, very fresh, baked law in Ghana. And it is not only about repealing and revoking e-levy and all those other taxes, but this one establishes a gold board, like the cocoa board. And it is supposed to oversee, monitor, and undertake the purchase, trade, and export of gold and other precious minerals. It is supposed to promote value addition to gold resources and other precious minerals of the country. It is supposed to support the accumulation of gold reserves by the Bank of Ghana and generate foreign exchange. It comes to collapse the precious minerals marketing company, collapse and replace it, so to speak. So, as you already know, the head of that institution is right here with us. Imani Africa, you can trust them. They are raising issues. So, let's begin by hearing what their problems are with this institution. Then we take your comment. We have Prof. Dr. Steve Manteyao also joining us on this matter. Vicky Bright has taken leave of us because she came to deal with the other matter. Here in the studio also is Stephen Aka, who is Executive Director, Ghana Gold Export Foundation. Thanks for joining us, sir. Right. So, Imani.
Yes, sir.
Why? You people, everything you have papers on them.
Oh, we don't have any proper work to do. So we just sit down, we analyze
Tell
things,
us,
we get
what is it that you are seeing that all the people who are praising the gold board are missing?
Actually, in a sense, we are praising the gold board. We've said something over the years and some people miss it. Our job is not to look at what is great and praise the government for it. They have enough people to do that. What we think our job is to look out for the pitfalls, where the problems could come from, and highlight them so that they will be taken care of, and then hopefully we can avoid these problems. So it's not like we are against everything. Let me make the point clear. In every situation where a state entity is formed, not in Ghana alone, it's a basic tenet of policy analysis. There are basic things that drive the formation, the motives for it, and usually the motives are very good. Okay, but there are also assumptions that are made, and usually the assumptions are wrong. The motive for the gold board is good. In fact, I am one of the people who believes that we have done such a bad job with our gold over the last 150 years that we are better off as of now leaving it in the ground for our children to do better with it later on. That's a certain principled position. But the reason why we are saying so is that we don't seem to be doing well when it comes to gold. So something different must be done. To that extent, the motivation for the gold board is absolutely fantastic. That we will create some sort of entity that will maximize our benefit as a country from our gold resources. The next point that must be made is that every government since Kwame Nkrumah has had the same vision. And in fact, the last time this vision was expressed in some entity, it was in Japan. Somebody decided that we're going to have to sell all of it, take some money, and then go and do some floating of something on a stock exchange somewhere. There is always good intention, but then the devil is in the details of how it is done. Of course, you remember that we were very much against the Japan, myself and my colleagues. Now, in the case of gold board, we think it is an improvement where you have a situation where the state is trying to marshal resources to just focus on this resource and make the best out of it. But then the assumptions come in. Every time a state institution is formed, there's an assumption that it will be manned by perfect people. People who are not corrupt, supremely competent, okay, and they will always seek the national interest. There is almost never a situation where that happens. The next assumption is that it will create perfect systems that will execute everything according to book and things will work well. And then the third assumption is that it will operate in a perfect environment where you won't have normal problems and abnormal problems. But if you take environment, for instance, when you create an institution, there are people who immediately set out to study it and game it. And when you create those institutions where You concentrate too much power, you create an entity which now makes its officials rent seekers. The last example, the example I'll give you is when they created this Galamsey task force. I give it because it was on this news file. I was here with Inusa and co. And I said, the people who have been tasked to go and chase them will become the people who are committing the sins. And that is what happened. Now, here's our issue with GOLDBOD. Great idea and whatever it is. When you concentrate commercial activity plus regulatory activity plus all of that in a government institution with powers to interact with people and industry and others within that ecosystem. And that, if you look at Section 44, so we have some of the bills. I'll be looking for the actual one that was passed. Going down, they have tribunals, they have inspectors. Yes, the president appoints some of those people and all those things, but that is why I say the assumption is that we have perfect people working with perfect systems in a perfect environment. Gold is a spirit, I've told you.
But that's something you can't help.
No, you can't help it.
You're setting up an institution and it's people who populate it who do the job.
You can help it. That's why we have, for instance, in governance separation of powers. That is why across this country you will see you have regulators, you have commercial actors.
If the people will be bad, they'll be bad. If they'll be corrupt, they'll be corrupt.
No, that is where you don't have to make the assumption that you are going to have perfect people. You hedge against these things. Why separation of powers is there not because people are bad persons.
So in this GOLDBOD, where have they gone wrong, and what is the preemption you are making about the temptation to?
You don't have the time, so let me give you
the wrong things.
A few examples. Number one, today as we speak, gold is extremely hot. Like gold is the price of gold has gone very high. There's a lot of money chasing gold. I can tell you now here, markets, there is no need for government to put any state funds behind the buying of gold. And markets, every money we put as a government behind the buying of gold today, tomorrow we'll come back and we'll establish probes around it because they will be wasted and looted. You can arrange such that private funds will go. There are enough people trying to buy gold, all right? And then when you have this situation where, you know, in law, when you are a government and you are the sovereign, and you enter into commercial activity, you go to the level, GOLDBOD is almost operating at every level, okay? For instance,
it's a one-stop shop.
That is the problem. So
that's the prescription we have loved. One-stop shop.
It's the wrong prescription. I'm saying
so you have control.
If you had the time, I'll show you where in this country we have departed from that and internationally it's wrong. So I'm saying, look, if you are the person buying the gold, and then you are the same person saying that the gold is 60% pure or 50% pure, after a while, you will buy the gold. When it's 90% pure, you say it's 60% pure because you are the one who determines it. Okay, when the commercial entity is also the regulating entity, that one is the one you are dealing with somebody, but you are the person policing the person. There are too many conflicts there. So we are saying, look, in our eagerness to try and stop Galamsey, to try and get, things out of gold and whatever it is, we may be making too many mistakes. Look, it's a good direction, but this model is problematic.
So do you agree that this model at least will stop the smuggling or minimize the smuggling so we can accumulate the gold to ourselves as a state and be the ones to now trade it and help to shore up our forex and work against the CD falling in the ways that we normally don't like? Do you agree that this can achieve that?
No, nothing will stop smuggling except strict enforcement and punishment. Nobody anywhere has stopped smuggling of gold. Now, the problem I have...
If the government becomes the only buyer, you can't sell it to anybody else.
It will minimize, but it won't stop. And when it comes to minimizing and stopping, when you have a situation where all the power is concentrated in one place, you are going to have people who become so powerful, too powerful. And when Sammy is gone, when other people have gone, sometime down the line, these same people with the absolute power, you will find will become the people who will be doing the smuggling. Because they themselves are checking themselves. It never works anywhere.
Has the GOLDBOD model not helped us?
GOLDBOD, as I speak,
it has helped to prop up our economy over the years.
I'm saying GOLDBOD, as I speak today, as far as I am concerned, has failed.
But imagine this Ghanaian state without GOLDBOD.
No, you see, again.
Can you?
Yes, I can. I can. See, when people made money from cocoa, it's when we didn't have cocoa board. Travel into our villages, you see old, good houses. People became rich over cocoa when we didn't have cocoa board. When cocoa board became a state institution, it helped the states, but it impoverished people. Cocoa farmers are the most taxed in this country. And it's because of the activities of cocoa board. You don't have the time here. What I'm saying is that when you concentrate too much power in a government institution and you do the analysis, you find out that, look, as you are looking for the good, you may be doing more bad than good.
Okay.
Gold board is a good idea. This law seems to be in the right direction, but there are too many landmines in it, and it will explode one day. Let's start, but let us quickly go and amend this thing.
So take a breather. Take a breather. I'll come to Sammy before I come to Steve. Try and convince those who think that this is too good to be true.
Well, Samson, thank you. Let me indicate that on this matter, I'm not debating. I'm here as a public officer entrusted with a duty to provide clarification and information on matters of concern to various stakeholders. The law we have today is a product of extensive consultations, but for the contribution,
Imani has actually applauded you for opening up the consultation, unlike the previous government where they didn't open up.
I say we have this law fit for purpose in this current state because of the invaluable contributions of various stakeholders. So we appreciate, their contributions. Unfortunately, in the case of my brother Kofi Bentel, I'm not really getting, the crux of the issues he's raising. First of all, let's understand why Ghana needs gold board. Look, gold is a precious mineral we've been endowed with as a country over the years. But we all agree that as a nation, we have not derived the necessary benefits we ought to have derived from it. And that is because government has not taken keen interest in the trading of that precious mineral called gold. Our focus has been on royalties and taxes. But in terms of how gold is traded and how the states can maximize benefit from that, we've not done that as a country since independence. Okay? Nkrumah wanted to do something like that. And so in 1963, he set up the Diamond Marketing Board, which metamorphosed into PMMC. Okay? And so what President Mahama is saying is that let's have a commodity board for gold and other precious minerals that monopolizes the trading of that commodity so that the states can get the needed benefits we need from it. What benefits are we talking about? Number one, foreign exchange. Gold is one of the highest earners of foreign exchange in the world. We've done something brilliant with cocoa despite the challenges we've had with cocoa board's management. Okay? Cocoa board has been a blessing to the state year in, year out because it is the main commodity that brings in foreign exchange in advance for us as a people. We are able to get, under the NDC, the actual NDC government, Cocoa Board could give us $2 billion in forest sitting at the Bank of Ghana at the beginning of the cocoa season. And that is what served as the bulwark of our national currency. The two main sources of forex for Ghana has been cocoa and borrowing from the Eurobond markets, or borrowing in general. Today, Cocoa Board has been mismanaged, is on its knees, collapsed by the MPP. They can't go and even syndicate funds again. Ghana as a country has also been locked out of the capital market. We can't go on the Eurobond market and borrow in dollars again. Where do we get dollars for the woman at Makola who wants dollars to import rice or sugar from China? Where do we get dollars to support our currency? So the previous government started something which was good, a domestic gold purchasing program by the Bank of Ghana. Safe to say that it was shrouded in opacity, and the entities, the main entity which was powering it, the Bank of Ghana, did not have the powers to sanitize the markets. And so they were doing the right thing in a wrong policy environment, which has led to huge losses on the books of Bank of Ghana. Bank of Ghana buys gold, MIF, another state agency buys gold, PMMC is buying gold, you have many traders, and the market is dominated by foreigners, mainly Indians and Chinese, and they are reaping the benefit of this important resource relative to trading. So Mahama and the NDC says, you know what, let all these state agencies back out. Let's upgrade PMMC into Gold Board. And let this be the sole agency responsible for buying, selling, assaying, and exporting this mineral gold, so that we can track all the forex and bring the forex back. Today, Kofi Ben told me, no, before Bank of Ghana intervened in the market, gold was being exported by bullion traders, 70% of whom are foreigners. Which
is wrong, yes.
And they are required by law to repatriate the dollars, the forex, within 30 days of export. Only 80%, not 100%. Even that, they don't comply.
Agreed.
And so when you hear that gold gave Ghana $11.5 billion in 2024, small scale contributing $4.6 billion, you ask yourself, where did the money go to? If government is the one buying and exporting the dollars, we'll be here. You get the dollars every 3 days, every 4 days, the dollars is here. Now, so that is the whole rationale. We need dollars to stabilize the exchange rate. Government cannot see this important role to Chinese and Indians and private Ghanaians who have proven over the years that they are not interested in repatriating the forex.
Agreed.
So government says, I'm intervening. I want to do this myself. You continue to buy, but buy for me and I will do the export. I will even give you the money to buy. And I'm regulating you to make sure that you do not smuggle the gold and we do not lose the needed revenue and dollars. And I even want to move from exporting Dory, unrefined gold, to exporting bullion through value addition. I want to move from the total export of all our Dory, unrefined gold, and even allocate some for the downstream fabrication companies to use gold for jewelry and other ornaments. I also want to ensure supply chain traceability so that the gold we get from small-scale mining, which at the moment is not accepted by the LBMA market, can be accepted and can form part of our gold reserves. This is the reason why we are doing Gold Board. Now, concern number one. You say that, number one, the last time a government sought to do this was Ejapa. Please, senior, this one you know. Ejapa is nothing like Gold Board. Ejapa was a government... That. Yes, you know that. Ejapa was a government seeking to monetize...
I said that, yes.
...our mineral royalties over 15 years. Investing that in an SPV, a company incorporated in a tax haven. And you, from Imani, you came out and showed that that was totally undervalued and we're going to lose money. Gold Board is here in Ghana, wholly owned by Ghana. Ghana government is giving us money to buy gold and export the gold and bring the dollars in within a period of 3 to 4 days for every trade cycle. So this is not Ejapa. That's number one. Number two, legitimate question, you say that Gold Board is being given too much powers, regulation and commercial. Not necessarily so. You see, Gold Board has no competitor. When it comes to its core mandate of trading gold, which is buying, assaying, and exporting gold, it has no competitor. So where would the conflict of interest arise? Where? Because Gold Board is an entity, just like Cocoa Board, giving the power and the right to buy and export gold. Okay? Now, Gold Board says, I don't want to nationalize it. Ghana is not a communist country. So government will not be the one buying it itself. Just like Cocoa Board give licenses to buying companies and gives them seed money to buy cocoa for it, we will also license aggregators and buyers and give them money to buy gold for us. So the private sector players still continue to do business, but they buy for and on behalf of the Gold Board. So the regulatory powers we have been given relative to this core mandate is so that we can regulate the people we have given license to, we have given money to buy gold for and on our behalf. It's as simple as that. We are not going to be a player and a referee. For example, hold on. For example, if Gold Board was one buyer in the market and there are other independent buyers in the market, and we are a buyer, commercial entity, commercial role, and yet the regulator of the other buyers, that's conflict of interest. In this case, Gold Board is the only entity buying, selling, assaying, and exporting. It has licensed agents doing that trade for and on its behalf with funds advanced to them by the Gold Board. And Parliament says we are giving you powers so that you can inspect the premises of these people. The provisions you made reference to, Section 44, Section 45, is the power of a gold board inspector to go to the premises of a licensed agent of gold board to check his books, to see where...
There are many subsequent to that, the tribunals and things.
NCA has a tribunal. These are new provisions we put in our laws to enhance alternative dispute resolution. It's not a matter of giving too much power to an agency. So that issue is totally moot. No issue of conflict of interest arises in this issue. And I say that with all due respect, you know.
As for the tribunal, it's not only NCA. There are
many agencies. And you check all the laws, it is there. Right. Because we want to encourage, you see, they themselves, the parties, they love it. Because they know that when they go to court, something will tell you, he is in court with PMMC. How many years has that case been in court?
Oh, come on.
How many years?
Please put that aside.
many years. So they are happy.
That's and the central...
And look, this tribunal, the fact that it's a gold board tribunal doesn't mean that it takes instructions from the CEO. The chairman of the tribunal is a retired justice of the Superior Court, set up like a court.
Yeah.
So let's understand
I was just saying that, in fact, the ADR mechanisms, you find them in over 30 legislations in this country.
I know how those work.
So that is not too much power. But the most fundamental point, something, he makes the point that why should government put money in the purchase or the trading of gold? And that very soon we will set up a program.
I mean, Adam has also raised that. The minority has raised that.
He raised that from the outset when we went to the committee
before
level.
The passage.
Yeah,
correct.
when he went there and he read it, he himself applauded it. He said even he tried to do something like that. Let me show you why.
He says.
Let me show you why you need government.
He says when the MPP regime was doing the gold policy, they never put state money.
So where were they getting?
They never put budget into it.
Bank of Ghana was
and you can also do
Bank of Ghana was printing money to buy gold, number one. And Bank of Ghana was taking CDs from BDC.
That's a wild allegation.
So where does Bank of Ghana get money from to buy 20% of the gold produced by large-scale mining companies? No, tell me. Well, where does the Bank of Ghana, when Bank of Ghana, why has the IMF told the Bank of Ghana to stop?
Doesn't have
that is monetary finance. But let me answer his question. Let me tell you quickly why there cannot be any nobler, agenda for government to spend public funds on than gold trading. Let me tell you that. You see, it is true. Gold board, we don't need money from government before we can buy gold as an institution. Because there are many people, as I sit here, across the world, from UAE, India, Europe, chasing us with dollars. Take our money and buy gold. Take our money. They are chasing us across the world with billions of dollars. You know why that is not our first option? Because that person is not a Father Christmas. When he gives you the money, he expects you to buy the gold and export it to him at a discount. Some want 5% discount, 6% discount, 4% discount, which means that if you take their money, you have to go and buy gold from the licensed miner at that high discount plus your own discounts. So we will be required to be buying gold from miners at 7%, 8%, 10% discount. Will we get the gold? That will only fuel smuggling. And so that is why government says, so that you will not go and buy gold from miners at outrageous prices, which will give them an incentive to smuggle the gold. I am giving you the seed money so that with state funds, you are not required to sell good at any discount.
Okay.
You can buy it at the best price possible. That is the reason.
Right.
And this money given us is only seed capital. If we go to the market today and the money is not enough, we've already met with Bank of Ghana and Seaboard. We are going to syndicate CDs from them to complement this amount of money. You understand? Currently, even these agencies in Ghana, they don't even have the capacity to.
There are state entities today financing the buying of gold.
Thank you.
Some of them are making losses.
We are very like the time.
Yes.
And the reason they are making those losses is why you need gold board.
But is the state financing gold and they are still making losses?
No, the reason is that. No, it's important. Let me answer this one.
Steve Mantea is on the line. I need to get to him quickly.
Just 5 seconds. The reason they are making losses is that they are buying gold from an unregulated market. They don't have an entity like
gold board. You need to abolish all of them.
Okay, thank you. Hold on. Dr. Steve Mantea, thank you very much. Earlier you were not on, and I almost forgot that we secured you back on the line. Hello, Steve Mantea. Okay, we lost him. So let me come to Aka. So we are told that revenue loss to gold smuggling it's about 2 billion. And we know that gold's contribution to our exports now is even beyond 50%. It's been hovering around the 50% range since 2012 to now. And now, thankfully, it's gone beyond. The small-scale miners have such a huge contribution, to the process. And now, all of them are having to do this and sell it to the government. What do you say?
All right, Samson, thank you very much. I think what we need to understand is that this is a new program that it was launched in 2018 by the World Gold Council, just because of the outflow and the inflows of gold that developing nations such as Ghana, which Ghana is part of it, we were looking at. So if you look at the program, I mean, we are part of the key people that initiated the responsible sourcing program, because when we wanted to promote some of this program, we realized that the main thing was the responsible sourcing program, who look at the market and the supply chain. As we speak, for the past 4 years, we've seen that the momentum for gold price have crossed even the psychological aspect of what we wanted, because we all thought gold never reached 3,000. An ounce of gold today is around $3,100 per ounce. Now, I think the Gold Board is a program that from day one we've actually promoted it. Our only concerns as an international, because we sit most of the task force, is that we want to see how this program can look at the landed price and also the domestic price. I think this is where I wanted Imani to really understand, because see, the gold business is not more of theory. It's more of like a critical program where you have to understand how the gold move from the mines to also even end at the refinery. Now you're in the country that you call yourself number one producer of gold. However, you don't have an LBMA refinery yet, and there are other alternative certification that we can look at. We as exporters in this economy, as Sammy mentioned, you will see that people bring in dollars. But at the end of the day, even when you go to the bank and even want to change, our biggest challenge has been the FX. So because the commercial bank will tell you that there's a specific rate that they have to give you. Now, Samson, what you have to understand here is we want to see how the Gold Board can support the compliance nature of the gold trade in Ghana, which we are not. Because Ghana gold goes a lot, as you mentioned, but I can tell you that none of the LBMA refineries have ever accepted the small-scale mining gold, all because of the tag that we have. So if there's a tag on an asset, which is number one commodity in your country, and you have, when you go outskirts of Ghana, you have this set of tag on you, then how are you going to achieve your balance of payment? Because you see that ever since, as I mentioned, I don't know, even from Kwame Nkrumah's time, Ghana has never achieved a balance of payment. The only commodity that can help Ghana to do this is through the ASM to support the landscape. Because bear in mind, the landscape works on the reserve. They don't work on the gold produce. Because a landscape has already invested money, gone on the stock exchange, raised money for the next 20 years. The small scale miner doesn't have it. So I think my advice to my brother Sammy is that we should involve more of the compliance team to look at how the outflow goes and also the inflow comes. Then at the end of every quarter, as I mentioned, the weekly purchases, the organization that can come in, that can even advocate to say that the supply and the programs are really going fine. Now, there's something also you have to understand. If the Gold Board is well implemented, I think it is going to eliminate galamsey. Yes.
Galamsey?
Yes. Why?
The galamsey.
Yes.
I'm interested in this part. But do about 1 minute for me so I go to Dr. Steve Mantia. Steve focuses more on royalties. This is ASM.
Okay. So you tell me, I'm interested in the galamsey.
There is something called certification. In the gold business, we have standard and certification. When you go to Dubai, Dubai is not an LBMA country, which is the refineries that buy the gold from Ghana are never LBMA certified. However,
LBMA is a large mining entity.
No,
so what?
It's a
London Bullion Marketing Association.
It's a certificate that created by a union, by a committee somewhere.
Okay.
Now, even though Dubai is not, yet they receive all our gold. 90% of the gold in Ghana goes to Dubai. Why are they accepting our gold? Because they put a program called the DMCC. So when goes, they have to just follow by the compliance. Sammy is the new MD. I can tell Sammy that if he's able to put the hallmarking program in place, whereby any gold that he's buying, we have our own label stamped on it. If the person is holding gold, because in the policy that there's holding in it, if somebody is holding gold and we don't have the stamp of PMFC, it means where did you get the gold from? That's the first way. Okay. Now we know, per even at the Ministry of Lands, the Boundary Commission, we know where all the gold are being produced from. Whether the person are bringing gold in and they're exporting gold, that we know. So what Sammy have to also add is we should put in the hallmarking program, right? So that at the end of the day, everyone holding gold will have the gold.
Thank you, Dr. Steve Manteyao. I'm very sorry, but we have just about 3 minutes to spare or less. But we must hear from you. We are hearing all these organizations, small-scale miners, everybody applauding this. How come you are not seeing the pitfalls that Imani is pointing to?
Thank you very much, Samson. I think Imani had the opportunity to input into this whole idea of the establishment of the GOLDBOD. We all received the invitation, and those of us who cared actually attended and made submissions. I had my own reservations, even though I thought the whole idea was a good one. And given the opportunity, I expressed them, and they were accepted, incorporated. And so I'm happy with what we have. I think what we need to understand as Ghanaians is that there is no perfect regime anywhere. And whether or not it works and serves our interest depends on us stakeholders. So when we are given the opportunity, I think we should seize it and help to improve it so that it works to address our national interests. And I think one point that has not been made by your panelists is the fact that the GOLDBOD has the advantage of broadening Ghana's access to mainstream gold markets, moving us away from the dominant market in Dubai and India. Okay. And so it helps us to get better value for our gold. Okay. Let me also make the point that even though small-scale gold mining in this country accounts for 40% of our total national gold production, its contribution to government's fiscal revenue is less than 1%. And so it means we get nothing. And again, because it's dominated by foreigners who come in with dollars and exchange their dollars with abochi, government does not get the benefit of the dollars to shore up our city. All right. And that is why I think this intervention is very strategic. We all need to support it so that it works for Ghana.
Thank you very much, Dr. Steve Manteyao. Dr. Steve Manteyao, thank you very much. And then Steve Aka, Executive Director at the Ghana Gold Export Foundation. Dr. Steve Manteyao is Chairman of the Ghana Extractive Transparency Initiative. We had Vicky Bright earlier. We had John Intim Fojo earlier. Professor Kwesi Enin also. Sammy Gyamfi is here, Acting Managing Director of the Precious Minerals Marketing Company. I suppose by the coming into force of this law, that company is gone. Kofi Bento is here, Senior Vice President, Imani Africa. Dr. Nyaho Tamaklu says the ECG container scandal is a well-organized crime that requires stern and immediate attention. It should be handled properly with thorough investigations, prosecution, imprisonment, and refund of stolen funds. I advise the current administration to act swiftly to avoid facing the wrath of the people. It's time for accountability and transparency, and for those responsible to be brought to book to restore the public trust and confidence in our institutions. The people demand justice and action now to prevent further erosion of faith in our governance. There are hundreds of messages, but directed at Mr. Intim, Reverend Intim. We won't read them because he's not happy about them.
Try. Why
Have a good afternoon. I'm Samson Ladia Nyenini.